In the depths of the soul where struggle begins and wisdom is born, the journey of Psyphus begins. Welcome. You are not here by accident. You are here because something within you refuses the surface. Something deeper is calling. That call is not loud, but it is persistent. A whisper beneath the noise. A pull from the quiet corners of your own mind. Have you ever noticed that the more deeply you reflect, the further you drift from the noise of others? That with every truth you uncover, silence grows around you? This is not your imagination. It is not a flaw. It is the natural consequence of seeing clearly in a world addicted to distraction. This silence is not empty. It is the echo of your inner awakening. It is the space where thought meets being, where clarity displaces noise, where truth begins to form not in words but in presence. Society has long feared the deep thinker, not because they lie, but because they see, because their vision penetrates the illusions others depend on. They see beyond the roles, beyond the surface smiles, beyond the scripts. Now think about this. Why does seeing more often mean being heard less? Is it because truth threatens comfort? Because depth demands change? History whispers this pattern through the ages, from Socrates to Schopenhauer, from Galileo to Tesla. The soul that dares to awaken is not celebrated, it is condemned. Not for lack of genius, but for unsettling the dream. Their minds did not just offer knowledge, they offered disruption, and the world, unready, turned away. Schopenhauer called intelligence a curse, a gift that isolates, not because it is flawed, but because it is rare. To see clearly is to walk alone. And yet, there is something sacred in that solitude, a purity of perception untouched by noise. What if your loneliness is proof of your clarity? What if your distance is not exile, but elevation? But why does this discomfort rise when truth enters the room? Why does the whisper of awareness disturb the crowd? The answer lies not in arrogance, but in reflection. The deep thinker becomes a mirror, not of superiority, but of inner absence. The mirror doesn't judge, it reveals. And in that revelation, people meet what they've hidden from: doubt, fear, dissonance. Not everyone is ready for that encounter. Do we resent others, or the parts of ourselves they reveal? When we meet strength, we admire. When we see wealth, we envy. But when faced with a sharper mind, we flinch. Not because they speak, but because they echo what we've avoided. This is the mirror effect. To think deeply is to disturb without a word. Can the presence of truth be felt, even in silence? And if so, is that not more powerful than words? Unlike strength or beauty, intelligence strikes at the root. It's not external, it is identity, thought, belief, perception. To challenge ideas is to shake the self, and the ego is the most sacred idol of modern life. Is it easier to hate the thinker than to question ourselves? And so the thinker is cast out, not for arrogance, but for proximity to something raw and real. Truth, especially in its early form, is unbearable, and the ego by nature defends itself at all costs. This is why truth must often speak in exile, where it cannot be silenced, only delayed. How much truth can a society tolerate before it breaks? Have you ever tried to speak depth, only to meet averted eyes and shifting tones? Not because they don't hear you, but because they cannot hold it. This is not rejection, it is self-preservation. The mind protects itself from the unfamiliar, from what it cannot control. Have you mistaken their fear for your failure? The world rewards confidence, not contemplation. Charisma, not complexity. Those who shout simple truths are heard. Those who whisper layered realities are lost in the noise. History remembers the deep ones, but never in their own time. What is louder, truth or the crowd? Science confirms what philosophers always knew. The brain fears what it cannot control. Deep thought activates the same circuits as danger. It is not the message, it is the disruption. The unknown is unsettling, and intelligence brings the unknown to light. And so, intelligence becomes the silent enemy. When did thinking become a threat to belonging? The tribe once meant survival. To be different meant to be alone, and alone meant to die. We still carry that wiring. So, when a thinker arrives, they shift the balance. Not by choice, by nature. Their existence challenges the unspoken rules. Is your mind an invitation or a provocation? In groups, the threat intensifies. The fear is not just of ideas, but of comparison. The thinker becomes a measure, and no one likes to be measured. They silence the deep not because they are wrong, but because they remind others of what they've forgotten. What do you awaken in others? Admiration or defense? Cognitive bias guards the fortress. The Dunning-Kruger effect, status quo bias, the backfire effect. The brain prefers what feels safe, even if it's false. Truth is slow. Emotion is fast. And speed wins in the digital arena. Does truth need to shout or just wait? Social media magnifies the problem. Engagement, not enlightenment, is the algorithm's god. What entertains spreads. What enlightens is buried. The thinker who cannot simplify is drowned in simplicity. Has the age of connection left thinkers more isolated than ever? Modern institutions mirror this avoidance. Schools reward repetition, not reflection. Workplaces promote harmony, not honesty. Politics praises comfort over clarity. We say we value intelligence, but only after it becomes harmless. What kind of truth is accepted? Only once it's too late? Galileo was silenced. Tesla discarded. Hypatia destroyed. Turing erased. Not because they were wrong, but because they arrived too early. Society protects itself from what it cannot digest. It rewrites the story once the thinker is gone. How do you know if you're ahead or just alone? So what can the deep thinker do? Understand the terrain, preserve the flame, choose your moments. Not every soul is ready. Not every ear can hear. You do not need everyone, only those who see. You do not need validation, only vision. Are you seeking acceptance or alignment? Find your circle. Books, conversations, silence. Learn to carry your depth lightly, not to dilute it, but to protect it. As Einstein said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. And Schopenhauer, genius hits a target no one else can see. Can you hold your depth without drowning in it? You are not broken. You are not lost. You are simply awake in a world that dreams of comfort. Psyphus does not climb because the summit is near. He climbs because the journey is his own. The struggle of the soul is not a flaw. It is the path. It is the price of vision. Will you turn away or keep climbing? If these words echo something buried in you, then perhaps you were never alone. Join the inner journey. Share your thoughts. Whisper your awareness. And if you're ready for more, the next step awaits. Subscribe to Psyphus. Not for noise, but for depth. Not for answers, but for the questions that keep you climbing.